Alright, so being out today, I'm going to be teaching you about law of cosines through this video. First of all, what I want you to see at the top shouldn't be confusing. This is just kind of a proof of how we get this, not something you actually have to learn. So just hear me out and write down what I'm doing here. What I did is I took this triangle and split it in half. Now, you can see across from big A is little a, across from big B is little b, across from big C is little c, except what I'm doing here, so this is little c for this whole side, but what I'm doing here is splitting it up into x and c minus x. So the whole length minus this length gives me that length. What I really want from this is this triangle right here, which forms a right triangle. From this, I'm saying that this length of the full length of AB, that's what all this is saying, so that's how I'm getting that c minus x there. In this triangle that I have to the left, b squared equals x squared plus h squared. That's just the Pythagorean theorem, we know that. So cosine of A equals, well, from A, adjacent over hypotenuse would be x over b. Okay. Now, how do I solve that? We'll get rid of the b, so let's multiply b to both sides, and I get x equals b times the cosine of A. What I'm going to do with that is replace, well, in this other triangle, a squared, the hypotenuse, Pythagorean theorem again, this is supposed to be h right here. Let me just move it there. Squared plus c minus x squared, which is a pain in the butt. They FOIL this out to get to here. Then what I'm going to do is replace x squared plus h squared with b squared, right? I can do that from right there. That's how they get to here. I'm going to replace x. I just said x equals all of this. I'm going to replace x with this there. And then I just kind of reorganized things, pulled the b squared out front and rewrote it here. This is called the law of cosines. This right here. Okay. Now, what this states, and really what matters here is not necessarily everything above this, but that you understand what's going on below this. That's why I'm moving this up now. Okay. The law of cosine says that if I have a side that I can take this, I don't need a right triangle necessarily, that I can square one side, square the other side, add them together, and then subtract the product. So all of this is multiplied together. It does not get combined with this. I've got to multiply this all together first. 2 times the other two sides times the cosine of the angle across from it. And I can do it for side A, side B, or side C. That's what that's meaning. You're going to see this, how this works. But in order to do this, I could find the missing value of any triangle we know if we know either two sides and angle between them, or, put an or there, all three sides. And I'm going to show you how this works, okay? So, and on a quiz or on a test, I'm going to tell you to use the law of sines from yesterday or to use the law of cosines from today. Okay, so and I'm going to give you the formulas, okay? Now, with that being said, let's look at this example. Now, racing committee is laying out a triangular course similar to what would the length of this third side be. I want to solve for this. Well, what I know is that two sides and the angle between them. So I can use this law of cosines. Now, I'm going to solve for A, so I'm going to use this first equation here. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of A. Okay, and I'm just going to plug it right in. Okay, I'm going to plug in everything I got. I don't have a squared. I have b squared, which is 2.5 squared, plus c squared, which is 3.5 squared, minus 2 times b times c times cosine of the angle. And the beautiful thing about this is you can plug it all into your calculator exactly how you see it. 2.5 squared plus 3.5 squared minus 2 times 2.5 times 3.5 times cosine of 40. And press equals. And what you should get is 5.094. What I don't want you to do is don't round. Use what's in your calculator, because all you're going to do now is just take the square root of this, because keep in mind what this is saying. This is saying a squared equals 5.09. I need to solve for a, and to solve for a, I just got to square root both sides. A equals the square root of this. What you're going to do in your graphing calculator is go second squared, which you'll see the little square root buttons show up, and then go second answer. That will get that value in there. Instead of rounding it, you can have the exact value in there. So again, second x squared, which will give you square root, and then second enter, which will give you the previous entry, this 5.09. So it should say square root of 5.094, blah, 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 blah. You get your answer, which I do want you to round, 2.3 miles, because it was all rounded to decimals there. Okay. We can also do it when I have all three sides. Let's look at example 2 here. Let me set it up. Again, angle C is what I want to find. Okay. So if I want to find angle C, then I want to start with side C. That's the one I need. I don't need angle B because there's nothing to do with that in here. So little c is this one, little b is across from big B, little a is across from big A, and I'm going to go 12 squared equals 5 squared plus 8 squared. Again, I'm just using this formula and plugging stuff in. 2 times 5 times 8 cosine of c. This is something that I don't know now, is this cosine of c. Okay, I'm going to do some simplifying here. 144. This is 25 and 64, which is 89, minus 2 times 5 is 10, times 8 is 80, cosine of c. And here's what people want to do, and this is absolutely wrong, is they want to subtract those. But this is 80 times cosine. That'd be like saying 3 minus 2x is 1x. It's not. We can't do that. So what I got to first do is get rid of this 89. Whatever that is, just do the opposite. Minus 89 to both sides. These cancel. Over here, I'm going to get 55. Over here, I'm going to have negative 80 cosine of c. Now, how do I get rid of this negative 80? Well, I just flat out, this is 80 times, so the opposite is divide. Divide both sides by negative 80. Those cancel. On this side, I'm not going to worry about it. All I know is I've got cosine of c equals 55 over negative 80. And if I'm solving for an angle, if I'm trying to find this angle and I'm trying to do the opposite of cosine, hopefully you remember it's the arc cosine. If I'm trying to find an angle, I got to use the arc. So in your calculator, go cosine, arc cosine, so second cosine should give you the cosine negative 1. And then literally type in the fraction. It probably should already give you that side. Just go 55 divided by negative 80. Do not use the minus sign there. It's going to say no value or error or something like that. Use the negative sign that's at the bottom of the calculator by the 0. Okay? Now, when I do that, you should get what c equals, which is 133.4 degrees. Which, if you look at the picture, makes a lot of sense. This better be an obtuse angle, because it's definitely an obtuse angle just looking at the picture. Okay? There's that page. Whew. Take a breath. Let's go to the next page. Let's try a few more. Okay? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do 3 and 6, and I'm going to want you to find the other one. Okay? There's nothing quite like yesterday's work where I'm going to try and confuse you and throw you off by do you solve for this one or do you solve for that one. It's just it is what it is. So number 3, we got to draw this out. Let's draw ourselves a triangle. And I'm just going to call it ABC. Okay? The lengths of two sides of a triangle are 8 and 10. Okay, so I'm going to use angle A if I can. So this is angle 8 and 10, 10. And the angle between them is 40. I'm not going to put 40 here and here because 40 goes here between them like it says. Find the length of the third side. That's going to be little a, little b, little c. And if I go back to the formula, again, it says a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of big A. Now I'm just again going to go plug stuff in. If you don't know which letter is which, choose it. Doesn't matter which one you do. You know what the sides across them and the other sides are. It all works out the same. B squared will be 10 squared plus 8 squared. Again, it doesn't matter if you write 8 squared plus 10 squared. You're going to get the right answer. 2 times 10 times 8 is the same as 2 times 8 times 10. And I'm plugging it all in. Again, you can plug that right into your calculator. If you don't, you can show more work here. Do you have to do this? No. 80 times 160. So really what I'm plugging in is 164 minus 160 cosine of 40. Now again, this is not 164 minus 160, it's 164 minus all of this. So what I get here, a squared, is 41.4. Again, I'm not rounding this. I want you to keep that value in your calculator and go second a squared, second entry, and it'll square root that whole thing and give me 6.4. Now there's no measurement, so I guess I'll just say units. Because it's a story problem, I better have a solution. Okay? Just like the other problem, let's look at number 6. This is like the first problem, or the second problem we did. Again, we got to draw a triangle. and I'm going to call it A, B, C. And it has these sides. Now I want to find opposite the shortest side. So let me just put these in here first. 14, 11, 9. There's the shortest side. I want to find this angle measure, so I'm going to be using big B. So I'm going to go back to that first equation. I'm going to label these little a, little c, and little b. And what am I trying to solve for is big B. Now on the previous page, which I'll briefly just show you real quick, you have this for little b. It's the same as all the other ones. You square the two other sides, you 2 times the two other sides, and the cosine of the angle. So what I'm going to do here, again, and you might have to flip back and forth, but I'm going to go b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of the angle. And just start plugging stuff in. What do I have? I already know what a lot of this is. 9 squared, 11 squared, 14 squared, 2 times 11 times 14 times cosine of b. Again, I'm trying to find the angle, so I'm going to have to use the arc here somewhere. 81, this is 121, this is 196. I'm going to add those together to get 317. Just because if I do it all in 2 steps, I feel like people make more mistakes. 22 times 14 is 308 cosine of b. I cannot combine these. It's not 9 cosine of b. I'm going to first subtract. Use your calculator, because some of you are going to do this wrong. Get a 4 and a 7, call it 371. Positive minus a negative is negative. I'm going to get 200 and, well, let me just do the math here. 6, 3, 2 equals negative 308 cosine of b, and divide by negative 308. And get cosine of b is, well, negative divided by a negative. It doesn't matter if I plug that in or not, because I know that's positive. Plug that as an arc cosine of both sides. I get a to b, or b, excuse me, b to b, about 40 degrees. It's like 39.98, which would round to 40 anyway. And there's my answer. Okay. I want you to try number 4 and number 5. I'm going to start working on those in just a second, and you'll be able to watch those. So press pause, try 4, try 5. Keep in mind, 4 is just like 6, 5 is just like 3. Set them up your way. Start with triangles. We'll draw those in there so you know where to start, and label stuff accordingly. Pause, try 4 and 5, come back and check your answers. You can see all the same steps that I did here. I labeled my triangle with the angle in between it. I'm trying to find the length across from it between stars B and C. I plug in the 2 sides squared, 2 times the 2 sides cosine of the angle, which is, sorry, 43. We're not trying to solve for 2 different things here. We know that angle. It gives it to me right in the problem. When I plugged all of this in my calculator, I got 47.49, and I went second square root. Second entry, got my value, pressed enter, and got 6.9 light years. Next problem, again, I'm not going to really talk through this, I'm just going to set it up. Opposite the longest side is going to be here, so I'll just call that my A, B, C, doesn't really matter. Again, make sure you get rid of that term first and subtract it to get negative 61, negative 280 cosine of A. You're going to get a fraction here, that's what we want. What I'm going to do is take the arc cosine of 71 over 280. Again, if you put negative 71 divided by negative 280, it's still going to give you the same value, which is 75.3 degrees. Hopefully you got those. Make sure you check in with people around you. Make sure you feel good about it. Compare answers. You know the people who are smart in this room. And then move on to the homework, which is the next 2 pages, 1 through 12. Okay? Have a good day. Behave yourselves. Do what you're supposed to do. Have the homework done by tomorrow. If I didn't check it today because I was gone, you can probably be rest assured I'm going to check it tomorrow.